Mr. Gift. Okay.
With regards to I think it was a female caller that called before this prayer one, is that under FATCA, again, we must clarify, we are not collecting taxes and remitting to the USA. Mm-hmm. All that we are doing is that we are collecting information and we're providing that information to the USA. When it comes to paying those taxes to the Internal Revenue Service in the USA, that agency would be the one that will be responsible for collecting from its citizens. That is, we won't be doing the collection on their behalf. All that we are doing is simply reporting information to them.
And the information, from what I gather, is so that people will not evade taxes.
So that person will not evade taxes. And again, if they recognize that, for instance, that persons have already paid taxes in the USA on that, I know that the USA law has a system where they provide certain tax credits for that. But as I said to the other caller, again, you would have to then sit with your accountant and they offer you advice in terms of planning how you could go and reduce your taxes, so tax avoidance strategies, which is legal.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know a lot of persons have been talking about the Marriott and all of this sort of a thing. My knowledge is that with some of these companies, hotels and other multinationals who are investing, foreign direct investment, and this is a common theory that, you know, sometimes they have what you call tax holidays. Okay, these multinationals have tax holidays. When they're coming and they set up, they have tax holidays, and there are certain other arrangements. However, the economy must benefit from these multinationals. They must provide work and so on for our people, training. They must be good corporate citizens in terms of helping the community, investing in the community, and so on. So sometimes I don't think people understand, you know, what goes on basically at the negotiating table. Because a foreign direct investor is going to come in. He's going to want something, of course. They're interested in making profit, but at the very same time, not at the detriment of the people of the country in which they're investing. We have a call on the line.
Yes, sir.
Working for you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. But I mean that you have become a spy for the federal government. You are spying on the people, and you think it's for the federal government of the United States. That's what you have become, a spy.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
Mr. Giff, I think that you attempted to answer that before in the context of globalization and the internationalization of banking and finance. You spoke about the relationship that our banks have with other banks, and so on. I think in an age of globalization, you know, and we're speaking about transparency and all of that sort of a thing, I think we have to look at this whole FATCA thing within that context. Am I correct?
Yes, and again, I think and we have some recent history of that is with all the attention that the Panama Papers are created, and persons are saying that, listen, it is not right for persons to really be hiding their income from whatever source it is. They need transparency about it. This whole issue of FATCA is really part of this whole process of, as you said, of globalization, where the world is coming much more smaller and interconnected, and also via technology. And part of this whole thrust of globalization and to ensure that persons are not using your jurisdiction for money laundering, terrorism, and other illegal activities. Tax evasion. This is the whole purpose of it, that is to provide information, and persons who earn their income legally and would have earned income legally. And again, as I said earlier, there's tax avoidance schemes that persons could engage in to reduce their taxes.
We have a caller working for you. Good afternoon. Caller, good afternoon.
Yes, hello, good afternoon.
Yes, we're hearing you.
Yes, just to touch on the issue with, some people just don't understand the FATCA issue. What I understand from it is that we are not spying for America. America, the CIA and the FBI for that is a lot of their past to collect taxes from their citizens, residents, or whoever. If we didn't sign it, it would have been worse for us. And after that, with the issue of multinational companies coming in and the government negotiating with them, as I said rightly, Mr. Williams, that it's supposed to benefit the locals as well as the business coming in. But when you're going to offer these companies duty exemption for such and such amount of years, and then whenever things get slow, they start cutting hours of the workers and stuff like that, it doesn't translate. And if they do all the government taxes, which I don't know if that can be disclosed, or you have to go and get whatever to get the information disclosed. It should be, because, the only weapon against ignorance is knowledge and information. And if people don't know what's going on, they're going to speculate and make up all kind of stuff. And then, it makes it look like, like nobody's really looking into these things. So information is the key. And whatever information that can be disseminated to the public to make them more aware of what's going on, it would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Working for you, good afternoon.
Hello?
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 Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear.
All right. I just want to kind of put my little 2 cents in there. That caller who called and talk about spying, I don't think nobody's spying on nobody, because if you got to look back at this guy who invests so much money and had banks in Antigua, and you got who he is. If there was no
Stanford.
transmission of information back to America, he would have been in jail in America right now. So somewhere along, and a lot of, not the average guys, but the millionaires and the billionaires, they does that. So there got to be some information to track them, because the people who work in America pay taxes every day, but they have their businesses and they have people who could do accounting to make their business flow operate without any track record. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I kind of commend you guys are doing what you guys can do, but it's not spying. I don't think you guys got the information to spy on no one, because information needs to be shared,
Precisely.
I know. Thanks for your help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Giff, I think that he made a good point, especially as we go back to the whole area of globalization, that we live in a globalized world, and that part of that is the whole network of information sharing. 50 years ago, for example, we were not at the same place that we are with globalization. And you correctly mentioned, with the advent of these ICTs, information communication technologies, the world has become a global village. Yes. And the sharing of information, I can buy something in a store in the United States on Amazon. I don't have to go into a physical store. It comes right to my door. It is delivered right to my door. All of these things. But of course, with globalization comes the temptation and so on to launder money and all kind of corrupt practices and so on that countries are basically trying to stamp out. And the Panama Papers, of course, which we are hearing a lot about now, reveals a lot of the dirt and a lot of the, what goes on in terms of people who we consider to be respectable, who are wealthy, who are influential, who are powerful, basically trying to evade taxes and so on and so on. It's interesting though that, while FATCA requires that countries share information, this information sharing agreement with the US, because the US is very much aware that people are trying to evade taxes. And you mentioned, we were speaking about earlier, the importance of taxes to a country's development, the providing of social services, and so on. However, interestingly though, in the Panama Papers, you do not see a lot of US figures, people inside the Panama Papers. I found it rather interesting though, that the US, there's very little said about it, about the US inside those documents. But anyway.
Yeah, well, I guess over time the facts would emerge. I don't have access to the information. But again, I just want to really highlight that...
Working for you, good afternoon.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, question. Okay, I understand what the last caller just said a while ago about this sharing information, the people banking information to the U.S. government. But my question is, how does it benefit Thinkits? Because can we also, in Thinkits, is America going to give us that same privilege to release banking information of, especially let's go to our politicians who hide the money all over the world? Do we have that privilege? Do the people of Thinkits have that privilege to find out where the politicians have the money hide? I'm listening.
Do politicians have money hidden? I don't know what you're talking about. Working for you, good afternoon.
Hello, this was Hygiene again. Yeah, I realize the kind of sparkle steam there, not intentionally, but, just want to be aware of things. I would like to see things patch up on both sides. What Americans think it can do is, measure out how much tax per annum, that particular citizen that is birthed in America will pay in Thinkits and in America. And, cut it in half or whatever, let it go to an amount that when the person is finished paying tax in Thinkits and finished paying tax in America, the person is happy at the end of the day. America is happy, Thinkits is happy. See what I'm saying? We got to work together to make it work. And, not point fingers and say blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? But balance it out. And, make it work, because it can work. And that is my input. I hope I didn't spark a steam, but, it brings knowledge to the table, which is powerful for all of us. And we just have to deal with it in a righteous way, so everyone is happy at the end of the day. One love and thank you to the world and to everybody listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Gift, I want to ask you, as the Comptroller of Inland Revenue, what is your vision for the department for the next 10 years? Where would you like to see the department in the next 10 years? I know it's a difficult question, but where would you like to see the department?
In the next 10 years, it's not a difficult question at all.
Okay.
We want to be known as a world-class tax administration in the next 10 years. We have pockets of that emerging in terms of the activities that we do, in terms of even we were the first in the OECS to actually offer e-services, and we was probably based upon our research among the top 5 in the Caribbean actually to offer e-services to our taxpayers. We are one of the first in the Caribbean in terms of offering customer advisory visits to our customers who register for taxes. So we want to mold ourselves into a world-class tax administration that is focused on achieving that what we have in the department in terms of our mission statement. That is, we want to encourage voluntary compliance of all the Federation citizens, and we want to provide better services to our customers, and we want to do this also in as least cost manner to the state, because we want to provide these services, but we don't want to do that in a very expensive manner. We want to be efficient and ensure that we are also minimizing our costs as much as possible. We also want that to be an institution, a world-class institutions where the employees would love working at that institution in terms of the benefits it provides for its employees and also the services that it has. And we are recognized, we've seen opportunities for that. That is, we recognize a few of the other countries, like for example Turks and Caicos, they are looking at setting up a proper tax administration in the revenue department, and they've identified us as one of the countries that they want to visit. That is, they have visited Jamaica and they insist that no, we want to come to St. Kitts and Nevis. We have also had colleagues that have come from the Bahamas. That is, Bahamas recently introduced value-added tax there, and of all the other countries, that is, they insisted that they would also like to have a professional attachment to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So we know that we're getting some things right, and what we want to do is that we want to be able to sacrifice right now to be a better organization that could serve the public and ensure that this federation maintains its objective of being a low-cost jurisdiction when it comes to taxation. And the only way we could be a low-cost and do not have any higher taxes if we have all the persons complying with the existing taxes on the books. And maybe possibly that is, the government could now look at the future in terms of reducing taxes, just as it has done in terms of removing value-added tax from food. When government made that sacrifice, listen, once everybody comply, we could see things happening in the future. So we really want to engender the general public and everybody, be a responsible citizen, pay your taxes on time, because it rebounds back in services. That is, persons who want to go to the hospital and demand higher services. I think there is now some talk of having a national insurance scheme, but how is that going to be financed? Free money?
No.
So we will recognize as citizens that these services that we are demanding, that is, when we are, one, the advantage of us is that we sit right next to North America, so we know exactly what happens in North America, but everybody is aware what's happening in North America, that persons pay taxes there. Even as we talk about FATCA there, that is, they want to increase the compliance of their citizens so that they could get more financial resources to build their nation stronger. So that is what we are doing in St. Kitts and Nevis. We're building our nation. That is, we no longer could rely on the mother country, England, to do that. So we as citizens have to make our small contribution. And if all of us do that on time and in the right amount, the government could then looking at even reducing the taxes more and providing more services. But as we have this conversation about national development, building this federation, as we said, we wanted to make it the best in the world, we have to have that conversation about taxation and costs, because government, you get money in 3 ways. That is, you take a loan, some other country gives you their money free, that the other citizens will pay taxes from, or you collect taxes or contributions from your citizens. And we must get that done in a least cost-effective manner and ensure that we at the same time minimize whatever wastage there is in government.
I think it's important to emphasize that there are no new taxes, because it has been all over the place that the government is imposing new taxes on the people. Today I heard you say that there are no new taxes. Working for you, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon again, Mr. Gift.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to talk about reducing taxes. I mentioned about the 0.5% coming off the social levy. I haven't made no comment on it. That's all. I was the first caller. I'm talking about the 0.5% coming off. It's staying in the people's pocket. And I would like it to be done for independence. 0.5% be left in the people's pocket and their hands to spend. So we just pay 3% social levy.
Okay, sir, we have heard you. We will take the recommendation forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's almost time to wrap up. We only have about 2 minutes left. So I'm going to ask you, Mr. Gift, do you have anything that you would like to say to those who are listening in closing?
Again, I would just like to really thank a lot of our citizens who have been responsible and paid their taxes on time, and we encourage those persons to be good citizens. Also, we just like to remind the general public that the property tax is due and payable on or before the 30th of June. So we encourage all persons to pay the tax on time and avoid the late financial charges. And just remember that there is no need to come into department, avoid the long lines. You could register to pay your taxes online, on both islands, whether it is in St. Kitts or Nevis. So please sign up for the e-services options at the department. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Giff, I want to thank you so much for being on our program today and sharing with us pertinent information that every citizen should have in terms of the importance of paying their taxes and paying their taxes on time, and also to let them know that there are no new taxes despite what is being said. I want to thank all of our callers today, all of you who listen to today's program. We appreciate you every week. I am your host, Lesroy Williams. This has been another edition of Working for You.
Working for You. A weekly talk radio program which highlights developments of national interest and the activities of your St. Kitts Nevis government. Join host Lesroy Williams as he presents news, views, reports, and interviews about everything regarding the activities of the Team Unity government and the building of our communities and the development of St. Kitts Nevis. Tune in and call in to interact with your government and share your views regarding the upward forward development of your community and our beautiful Twin Island Federation. Working for You is weekly, every Wednesday live from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. on ZIZ Radio, Win FM, and Sugar City FM with rebroadcast on participating stations. Working for You.